Everybody, welcome back to an episode of the Board Pickup Show. Dwayne's goal was to make it to 6, so this means that we're halfway there.
Listen, I'm excited. 3 episodes is huge. This is a lot better than I thought we would get, honestly. But I actually really enjoyed just having these one-on-one conversations with you, and I realized they're very useful. And believe it or not, after all these years, I still learn things, and hearing how your brain works is exciting. So I don't mind doing it now.
That's sweet.
Yes.
No pressure on my brain. Absolutely no pressure.
Again, all your thoughts are right. It doesn't matter. There's no pressure on your brain, and yeah, I think it's good. We've been getting some good feedback as well. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting.
So the whole concept behind the show, though, is to just have what we call normal conversations about things, because I feel like the internet is really, really extreme, and then it's polarizing, and then you feel like you just can't discuss things in a natural way. Like, if it's not clickbait, it's not good. But I suppose our goal is to just invite our friends and followers and subscribers, everybody, to just have one headed conversation.
Yeah. Well, the internet's not a real place. I would say like the internet's fake.
But we're on the internet.
I know. But we're supposed to be like, we're supposed to be the palate cleanser. Like, we're trying to be. We're trying not to be like everyone else with the extreme rage bait and clickbait type of things. So I don't know where it goes. Because every time I see that blue check, I stopped listening to anything that person said. Like, if they have a story about it went to the grocery store or something happened, I don't believe anything they said. When I see that blue check, I'm just like, I'm not listening to anything that person has to say, because they're doing everything for the money.
Okay.
And we ain't making no money off money to that. And if we do, we got problems with world change. We got states.
All right. Well, I promise to not change. Well, in any case, after each introduction, we're going to head right into our pickup line, and it's a quick fire question.
So
for the day.
Pickup 9 is like icebreaker.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Great. And so today's pickup line is, growing up, or even now, did anyone tell you that you were not Black enough or Jamaican enough?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I think, look, the funny thing about that, I think that's just a natural thing of just like, oh, if you speak a certain way, or if you don't listen to a certain type of music, which I listen to everything. Like I can't just listen to I can't, yeah. So, you know, I DJ on the side, and I just love music. So I can't just be in a box of reggae or a box of hip hop. Or when I was growing up, it was just go-go. Like, I just love go-go. So it's like I just love all types of music. So yes, when I was like listening to Linkin Park, it would be like, oh my goodness, like, you're not Black enough. Or if I decide not to wear my clothes a certain way, it's like, you're not Black enough. And the Jamaican nut part, well, that's easy said, because if you're not speaking full pop, or you're not eating certain foods, they're like, you're not Jamaican. And that's a whole other conversation to go into. Some trauma there. Black and
I mean, absolutely. You know, absolutely. That was a part of the experience, especially around high school when I transitioned. Like, I grew up in
you transition.
No. Let me explain what I mean. So, in elementary school and middle school, I went to a program where I was with the same 20 kids from kindergarten through that time period. And so I just grew up with those people, and I didn't think I was different. And then I went to a church where most of the people that went there were Caribbean. And so when I went to high school, it was my first time with predominantly Black Americans. And so that was interesting because they were like, you talk funny. And then my Caribbean family's like, what pots what? You gotta catch up. So, you always feel like you're existing in some world. And so with that, I think we can head right into our pickup topic, which is really discussing the diaspora wars. Like, where you have, you have, you know, you know, the people who originate from Africa for multiple reasons end up spread out throughout the world and are influenced and get spread throughout the world. And then you have now Black people with all kinds of backgrounds and mixed heritage and legacies trying to decide, well, which one of us is the alpha? And that's what I feel. I feel like it's like, you have Black Americans that are very distinct. You have Caribbean Caribbean people that are very distinct. You have Africans who feel like they have a very distinct culture. And then you have first generation Americans from all those places who feel like they're also on the cusp. So I think it's a real topic, and we see the rage date and the clickbait and the arguments all online.
I think I don't think the internet's a real place, right? And I think the internet like push narratives and stuff to get people like having more in the comment section and things of that sort. But I do think it's some truth there. My mom and dad are Jamaican, and I was born here in America. And that's always interesting because Jamaicans would be like, you're not Jamaican. And I back my mom and dad's literally Jamaican. They'd be like, yeah, yeah. And if he's just like, okay, that's fine. But from my experience, it's like I kind of weird. I think it's a superpower to just be like, okay, I had the Jamaican heritage, but I have like a lot of the African American experience. Like my friends are African American. The music I listened to, I said was like the go-go hip hop growing up. It's like mostly like African American music. Um, I the TV shows or things like my culture is more of like the African American, and then I'll come home and it's more like a Jamaicanish type of house. I go to a Jamaican church. I have Jamaican friends, this that sort, but it still be like, but it's still not Jamaican. But it's like been put me in this little echo chamber of Jamaica. But the good thing with like I think African Americans is like I never felt that war, right? Like they will make fun of me every here and there about my accent and stuff of that sort. But it been nothing but love and acceptance. Like I never felt like I was an outsider. Like you're Black, I'm Black, we're cool, type of thing. And so whenever I hear about this whole war thing, I'm gonna go down like the studies of like Marcus Garvey, where it's like being kind of African, where it's like all Black people need to just unite and not have all of this divide and conquer. And I feel like this is something like that we know come from history from even back in Africa. They will divide tribes and give one tribe of guns and give the other guns. And I think it's just a lot of noise to get away from like the bigger issues that we have in our community that we really need to be handling.
And what comes into like shared Blackness or particular stuff?
Yeah, that's pretty complex. I think it's a shared Blackness type of thing. So across the world, historically, Black people have been like victims and of like oppression of white supremacy in this world. Like you think of Brazil, Argentina, you think of Haiti, you think of anywhere. Like it comes from a very, very violent, dark past where we're being taken advantage of Black people. A matter of like where we are now is really a matter of like where the ship stopped, whether it stopped in the Caribbean or whether it stopped in South America. It's like that's just where we end up at. But to say like I don't like people from Trinidad. You're not Black enough, or say someone from Chicago is not Black enough. I think it's a waste of time in a conversation, but I understand where it comes from.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, coming up as a first generation American with family from Jamaica, you do hear like, well, hey, don't get too connected to this group or too connected to that other Black group, because there are nuances, I think, in how we perceive our Blackness based on where we ended up. You know, I think there's truth to that conversation. Not that there's truth in the things that we use to divide ourselves, but I do think that there's a respect to the cultures being different, and how do we unify in a real way, right? Because there's the Black knock, there's the cis, there's there's the language that connects us all. But I definitely want to celebrate that this conversation probably wouldn't even be possible without the struggle of Black Americans and them literally fighting for the right to have a voice in America. And then the other countries, we migrate, the other sets of Blacks migrate here, and we're building on their shoulders. And I don't think they get enough credit for that work.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get triggered here or too angry here on camera. Yeah, my goal is not to get canceled. That's all I thought. However, I am very passionate about this subject. I get very angry when I hear, especially immigrants from Jamaica, Guyana, Nigeria, wherever a Black person comes from, and they dare to speak negative for African Americans and try to like separate them from that. Don't be with African Americans because they this and they're that, they're this. That angers me because well, let me go back a little bit. I had a friend who passed the citizen test where they like, no, they want to be American, right? So they went to put a citizen test. I've been took the citizen test and they passed. I asked them a question. I was like, did it on that citizen test? Did it talk about the civil rights movement or slavery at all? And he was just like, and he gave it a good amount of thought. Like he really sat back and thought about it. And he came back to me. He said, Dwayne, it wasn't one thing on that citizen test that talked about the civil rights movement or slavery or anything with the Black experience in America. And I was livid. So I said, you have all these people who get from the media showing how Black people are in America. They believe that's how Black people act in America. And then they come to this country and they will see many Black people, unfortunately, we're in like areas that are not like the best, like and which is systematic. It came from a history on why certain areas from redlining, from not getting the same benefits from the GI bills, from mention, from not getting loans, getting higher interest notes. It is so much history on why certain communities are where it is. So for you to just come and have no understanding about a class of people or a group of people, but you're gonna pass judgment on them and talk about it, but you have no idea how their experience is, but you left your country to come here, and they are the ones who fought, died, were lynched, and stayed in America to make this country a better place when you left your country. How dare you criticize them and not join them in the fight? And I think that's when you will see like the divide between like, but some like the FBA is really like, hey, like we should be doing this together to like build this up. But then you have someone who come from another country who experiences probably more similar to like the white experience, who be like, just work harder. And you'd be like, dude, it's that simple. And so let's talk about healthcare, right? So if someone from another country is coming back, I don't understand why these Black Americans just don't go to the doctors, and I don't know why their health is so bad compared to everyone else. If you don't know the history of how they used to do experiments on Black people, how they used to give us syphilis and give us diseases, you wouldn't understand when my great grandfather told me not told his son not to go to the doctor.
That's where it's coming from.
And then he could tell his son not to go to the doctor. And then my father told me, I think that's where it's started from.
I respect all that, and people online or people watching are getting to know us, and so everybody's complex and has layers and everything.
Yeah.
And so I agree with what you're saying, but then I also know from especially my parents' experience, where it's like, well, because I came here and I came with nothing. Like I came here with nothing. You've been here for generations, and I came with like $100 in my pocket, but I took the shifts that you guys didn't want to take, and I did the overtime, and you couldn't be bothered with. And I threw a partner. We can talk about that in another episode. But I threw a partner, and I just scrapped my way through with no support system, like barely a support system here, because I didn't fit in or didn't have anybody, or I had to build a new family through friendships, right? And now you're looking at me and you're envying me, you're talking down to me, or you're hating on me because I now have what either the same thing that you have in less time or more than what you have in like I'm already passing down generational wealth after one generation and you're like 10 generations in. So I get where from that perspective, there is a severe misunderstanding. But I also I respect my parents' grind.
Well, I respect my parents' grind, and I respect all immigrants who come in to this country, especially if they don't speak the language. And that's what really make America amazing. And it's also part of the problem, right? So America is, to me, is like the greatest country because of all these immigrants who decide to come to a place, and we are going to work together and be American and work towards like a better life, and towards a better republic. This is the issue with that, right? African Americans did not decide, they didn't make a decision to be here. They were forced to be here. And only on top of being forced to be here, they are like always suppressed and always on the bottom. People will respect a Jamaican or a Nigerian more and get them the job faster than they would give an African American. And that's and we see that with the whole like in the Drury skit where he was talking about like how the British actors are getting all these parts. Like we have American actors too, right? Like you would give them jobs, but we see that all the time. And I think whenever I hear that argument about, well, I came here and I worked so hard and look at me now, I'm like, the reason you have anything is because African Americans, they awakening. It's no Indian person, Chinese person, any person coming here without civil rights and without what African Americans get. And on top of that, it's studies showing it's a complete mindset difference between the person who live on a small island or in a country or a village, pack all this stuff in a suitcase, come to Boston Water and say, I am going to start a new life.
It's a different kind of
You get
personality.
it's a different poet. But that's why, like, even the Irish and anyone who came here has such a grit to them. And that's what make America America, because these people are not the same. So, so the same people who make an argument about, look at us, we're Jamaican and we just work so hard, blah, 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 blah. You could go to Jamaica and you like, it's not full of people like you. Like you left Jamaica for a reason. It's a lot of reasons, but I will go to Jamaica and it would be a certain people who, let's say like on the block, right? You could go back to Jamaica 30 years from now. They still in the same spot. You have people who's building houses in Jamaica. They've been building their house for 25 years. So you can't just say like, oh, like these people, like we just have to create. It's like, no, it's like humans are just complex. But the human being who decide to pack up their life and come to another country to build a life, that's a whole different mindset. And I think we need to, and I believe if African Americans, Black people, if we had some type of like utopia place that we could go to or they could go to where they could be like, I'm gonna leave the bull crap of America and go to a Black man over here, you would see the same results. Most of the people who have that grit would just leave, go there, build up a community, build up something nice. And unfortunately, the people who they leave behind, some people leave behind, got to continue doing foolery. And I think that's every country. Because if every immigrant was so amazing, their country will be so amazing. And they will fight the supremacy, white supremacy, and the whole.
That's too deep. That's too much. Yeah.
Say,
Music. But okay.
they all of us.
Love it. I think that we touched on things here. But one thing I want to kind of circle back to is talking about our parents a little bit, because I don't think that they understood at the time that we had these dual identities. And so now that we are moving beyond the first generation and raising the second generation, and presumably there'll be a fourth, how do we help kids understand that layered existence and identity? Because I don't think our parents were equipped. I remember like come home and they're like, "You ain't American, you Jamaican," and I'm like, "Well, I gotta live my life, and every day I'm going to an American school and interacting with American people, so I'm not really Jamaican, you know." Which kind of circles back to the point, whereas how do you like my auntie's right. I mean, I'm not Jamaican, but to recenter it, like how do you think you can go about um kind of dispelling or ending these diaspora wars? What do you think the unifier will be? Is it through our children? Is it acknowledging layered experience? Is it fully assimilating? What do you think?
Oh, that's deep, Trace. Like anything else?
Well, about y'all tell us what y'all think in the comments.
But I don't know. This like, and well, maybe I got my head, and I don't think it's like a war going on. I think though, like I said, I haven't been ill treated by any body black person in this country. To say like, oh, because your family's from Jamaica, I'm good. I have never had been, and I don't know any of Jamaican and my whole family who look at an African American who came in our life and community and ever say like, oh, they're African American and I walk them around. So maybe my perspective
About that, I know for sure my family's like, we prefer if you married someone with a similar Jamaican background, or I'm not saying it's a neo Jamaican, but
is a such. No, I think it's natural to be with someone for your family to want someone to be like culturally in line. And I'm gonna go all the way back to the black enough, right? So I think about if you're black enough or Jamaican enough thing, it really comes from your experience, right? So it's not. I'm sure it's people who's from like St. Louis or Louisiana. They be like, "Oh, you ain't really from Louisiana if you haven't done this, or you're not really from DC if you don't know how to beat your feet and you don't know about this go-go, and you never been to ice spots. You ain't really from DC." So it's just like
throwback.
it's throwback. But I'm just saying, like, so I think it's always like that whole like gatekeeping, but people hold tight to the chest of the experience. Like if you never had like a Kool-Aid with like it's just the type of place. I think it's more like the experience thing. I hope it's not coming from a place of like sincerity, like, no, I really don't believe you're black enough. I think it's more like type of cheek. But for the people and I think sometimes as a young person, you are growing up, you having identity issues. So you take all these little jokes and you taking it to heart, right? Like growing up would be like, Dwayne, you're not Jamaican enough. And I'd be like, I can't help where I was born and I can't help where I went to school. I went to school in America. I was born in America. This is just what I know. But you try to act like I'm not of your community because I did it where your type of uniform growing up in school. That could be kind of hurtful. But then in Americans would be like, oh, you really from Jamaica? So it's like you always feel like you're like in between. But the older I get, I'm just like, I don't care. I love my Jamaican heritage, and I love the African American culture and heritage as well. And for our children, I think it doesn't matter if like let's understand your heritage, where your family's from, that's important.
Yeah.
But I think I'm not, maybe I'm wrong. I hate that word assimilate too much because
It's a real word.
well, yeah, I think that's probably a whole other topic because usually in this country, assimilation always goes towards whiteness. And I'm not for that. I think we should be black. And And I do think most people, immigrants, Black immigrants, do assimilate more to the African American culture than they do the white culture. Their parents are. That's the whole other conversation. Their parents go more to the white side, but they want you to have your perm hair and all that stuff. The African American side, we're natural, something like. But no, I want to hear those. You can't do that. What's your what you?
I mean, I think that the unifier here should be melanin, honestly. And I think that we all know the root cause, and we should just be really honest about the root cause. But we live in a country that refuses to acknowledge its original sin. And I think until that conversation really happens, and then we just embrace it. Also, growing up, I would say to my Jamaican family members, like, well, we're African. Now, I know we're Jamaican.
That is the most craziest. Thank God for Rastafarians. The Rastafarians are amazing.
I think we just got to get to a place where we all recognize, like, listen, we're fighting the same system because we have the same shared history. And even though we all play different roles or as a consequence, experience different consequences from that experience, the infighting isn't necessary. And I do agree with, just like we said, what the pickup topic was, like, our diaspora wars. Is the diaspora war real? And I think what we're saying right now is, there are nuances and there are perspectives based on experience, but really what we should do is, honestly, I think, stop allowing the internet and the systems that exist to keep the infighting going. Like, the longer we keep the infighting going is the more separated we are, and the harder it is for the next generations to move past it. I'm afraid of our kids saying things like, I don't see color. I'm afraid of, but I think that people are also tired of toxicity. I think we're getting to a place where people are tired of feeling bad and feeling toxic and feeling other. And the more we do, I think, to just say, like, actually, the game that you call Ludo is what I call Ludi, and let's play together. And my American friends call it Sorry.
Yeah.
Look, the three games are the same basic game. Jamaicans aren't sense, sense, but it's the same game, and we should all just play together.
No, I agree, and I think, like I say, I told you this topic is trigger for me, so I'm trying to, not go on too many rants here. But I also think, like, I understand a lot of it, because a lot of times, like, people who come from other countries, you look Black, you in Black communities, but you're not helping the Black people move forward. And so I can see where that, like, kind of the fighting is happening. But you're right. It's like we all need to just unite against the same front, the same oppression. And this conversation of infighting is not going to help. But I always have to defend the African Americans when I'm like, yeah, but if all the acting jobs are going to British people, I can see, like, you need to say something. And if all the other jobs are going,
so that's what we're dropping today. What we're dropping is the Drewski.
The Drewski skit.
All right, so dropping the Drewski skit.
He's so good.
And totally appreciate that he is willing to push boundaries. I might not agree with all his content, but that particular one did resonate because we have had this conversation in the past where Black Americans are marginalized even within the group of people that they're supposed to, that people have built upon their shoulders, and they don't get enough credit, like totally undersold Killmonger's character. And so with that, I think we can head into our pull-up shout out. Today, I want to shout out Dr. Gail Ferguson. She has been doing incredible research on what it means to be a first-generation Jamaican American, specifically for the women within that group. And she's really looking at the intersection of being Black, being Jamaican, and also needing to kind of fit into white culture as well. And so I just want to shout her out, check her out. And if you do, tell us what you think.
Yeah, I read her article and her studies, and she was just a phenomenal thinker. And for her to take the time to study this and do that, I just think it's amazing. And I think we should always like get credit to people who really take time to study complex answers. I mean, complex answers. I think complex issues and come up with like what they think those answers may be. And this is how our thoughts are developed and how we could like keep progressing in life. So shout out to her. It's a great article. And I'd love to hear more from her. I hit her up.
Well, in closing, what did you pick up today?
Well, yeah.
Like, what did you pick up? Like, what's the point you're walking away with?
My point I'm walking away with is that Marcus Garvey was right, and that we all need to unite together and to have a strong front together. And one day have a country that will protect Black people as well.
I think they're not in this competition. We are the blueprint.
That's so good. See you one time.
I'm going to close out and say thank you so much for tuning in to episode 3 of the Ford Pickup Show. Please subscribe, comment, share, and drop a note of what you think we should discuss next.
Also,